Get in, lads. It looks like Mason Greenwood, according to some reports, has officially finished his paperwork to make the one-time switch over to the Reggae Boyz, the Jamaican National Team. And of course, we're here to talk about it today. Now, before we get into it, though, however, one, I want you guys to leave a comment down below your opinion on Mason Greenwood joining Jamaica. Two, obviously, we are talking about Mason Greenwood as a footballer. In this case, we have expressed our opinion about the entire Mason Greenwood situation in previous videos. So if you guys want to hear our opinions on that as a whole, make sure to go back and look at those videos. But today, we're just going to be talking about Mason Greenwood as a footballer joining the Jamaican National Team and what that means for both him and for the Reggae Boyz. 2025 is a big year for Jamaica. Gold Cup, World Cup qualifiers. Mason Greenwood is just a huge addition. No, I mean, I'm sure you guys have to agree with me.
Massive addition. I'm actually really stoked. Also, he won me some money recently in a bet. So, and from a footballing perspective,
you bet on
I'm
him?
very grateful. Yes, yes, shots on goal. So appreciate that, Mason Greenwood. Only bet I've won in a while too. So it's really special. But anyways, especially like Michael Antonio, being out for a long time because of his car accident, them not really having not like 9 that can actually score goals, because they look like they were struggling when they did have the opportunities. So, I mean, adding Mason Greenwood in the form he's in right now, it's pretty good form anyways, football and perspective-wise. So, it's exciting. Hopefully, the drama's over, the saga, and it's done deal. We'll see him in the next international window, hopefully. And then, we can stop talking about, he did sign, because it's a whole teasing.
Yeah, this is like the third video we've made about him joining Jamaica. So hopefully it's the last.
Hopefully it's like, we review his performance and it's like, all right, cool, he did a great job, instead of he might sign or he just signed. So hopefully the reports are true and he's put pen to paper and said, all right, I'm playing for the Jamaican Federation now, but we'll see.
Indeed. The reports I was seeing is that he's going to join up in June. I don't know about, obviously they have March games and then maybe another international window after, but June seems to be the most likely call-up point for him. And that means Gold Cup, right? That means a Gold Cup appearance for Mason Greenwood. Dig, I'll start with you. How does this change Jamaica's potential outlook in the 2025 Gold Cup?
I think it's huge. Let's be honest. Again, I know it's a new manager, and so judging based off of the old manager is not going to be fair. So I'm not going to do too harsh. But at the end of the day, the offense was not clicking. Now, the game plan was not clicking either, but definitely the offense was not all there. And, I know they had the drama with Leon Bailey as well. But with that being said, without a doubt, Mason Greenwood is on fire in Marseille right now. He won Player of the Month. Was it a month or two ago? I don't remember which one.
This past month, I believe.
Past month, yeah. And so, he's on fire for Marseille. And if obviously Jamaica will hope, and it's happened before where players on fire in club doesn't mean they bring it onto the national team stage. And we will see. We'll see if that is the case or not. Jamaica will be praying that it isn't, because they really, really need someone to be on fire up front for them right now. Having that danger man up front will be just so crucial to anything they're doing. And I think they have if anything, that missing piece on the offense will be almost perfect for them, because they have a good defense. They have. I mean, I love Ethan Pinnock. I think he's extremely underrated, and they have a bunch of other players, even some young ones coming up. So they have a good kind of structure there. But that offense is so important because they struggled. They struggled up front a lot, and someone like Mason Greenwood, I think, if he continues that form, will be very, very good. Because also, not only can he play striker, but he'll probably put him on the wing as well in case they want to. He can play anywhere up front and just kind of. Depending on what the need is and who's playing. So that versatility also adds a lot of depth to their attack.
Yeah. Mason Greenwood, at least in the perspective of the 2025 Gold Cup, immediately throws them, in my opinion, in the top 3 or 4 conversation as a favorite to win that tournament. Obviously, one player is not the whole team. But Mason Greenwood, if there's a player that'll come to a team in CONCACAF to change the whole outlook, it's Mason Greenwood. Right, he is one of the top players in form currently in the world. One of the top players in the French league. If we're saying that Jonathan David is the best striker in CONCACAF, Greenwood's giving him a run for his money in Ligue 1. Right, so Mason Greenwood, without a doubt, changes the entire attack. Jamaica gets chances sometimes. Right, the biggest issue with Jamaica is the build-up. There's hardly any build-up. That's with Jaimier. That's with Steve McLaren. There's just rarely any build-up. But if you have someone to build it up to, I think it's going to make it look a lot better. Michael Antonio is not the kind of player that partakes in too much of the buildup, right? And it's very hard if there's nothing behind him. It's very hard for anything to be created for him and by him. Mason Greenwood, I think, is a completely different profile striker. I think whether you make something behind him or not, as long as you kind of get the ball to him, he could do a lot more, in my opinion. He's going to create a lot more. There's going to be a lot more chances. I think he's going to bury a lot of them too. Gold Cup, I think we could see a Jamaica in the semifinals at the I don't want to say the very least, but that's what I'm kind of hoping for with Mason Greenwood here. Inversely, do we think, obviously it might not be a net positive, could Jamaica deteriorate from Mason Greenwood at all being there? Or is it pretty much a shoe-in that he's going to completely uplift the team?
I think if you just look at the footballing perspective, like take away like the personal side, I just think, and also he's doing pretty good at Marseille, and I don't think his teammates really have an issue with it because you wouldn't be doing as good as he's doing if there was some conflict in the dressing room.
A bad locker room.
Yeah. So I don't think that would be any issue. I just think it might take a little bit for him to settle, just because it's new. It's new. Concacaf is a very physical
region. Yeah, I mean, obviously not counting youth levels. He was a big player for the England youth teams, of course. So he's had that European experience, but Concacaf, like you said, he's never been around it. Never been involved in the region in much capacity. We could be seeing Mason Greenwood at the 2026 World Cup too, which I don't think many people would have had on their bingo cards for next year up until this point.
If you asked me that a couple weeks ago, I'd have been like, nah, bro, it's not happening because this thing's never going to happen. But here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And hopefully, like you said, hopefully this is the end of the entire saga. Mason Greenwood, if he joins Jamaica, I'm still gonna say if, right? Obviously, I believe it is a when to some extent, but the fact that this is the third video we've made over the course of like 2 years, you never know. How does Mason Greenwood slot in amongst the best attackers in CONCACAF? You got Pulisic, you got David, you got Jimenez, amongst many others, of course. Mason Greenwood, is he automatically a top 3, a top 5, a top 10er? Anybody have an opinion on that?
If we're just going off club form, you would be like, he's like a top 5. But if you're going off what we think his impact is going to be in CONCACAF, I'm going to go like top 10, maybe top 12.
But I agree. I think we need to see, again, while he's very good, I don't know if he's good enough to be put into any game plan right now and immediately thrive. This isn't your best in the world type of player. They take time, and so hopefully he gets up and running as quick as he can. But sometimes they do take time to get used to the team, get used to the players around them, and I'm sure they play very differently than Marseille do. So it's all these things that he's gonna have to get used to. But purely on club form, like Andres was saying, definitely you could probably put him top 5. I mean, he's been. I think he's okay. I could be wrong, but I think he's top scorer Ligue 1, maybe tied with David.
Don't worry, I'll fact check
something like that. Yeah, fact check me. But
yeah,
he's up there. At least tied him. He tied him recently, and I don't know if he kept going or not. But yeah, so obviously great. Not I think he has a bit of creativity in him. He's not like a huge creator or anything, but he's a bit of creativity in him. His main thing is definitely goal scoring. And I'm getting a clap.
Yeah, 12 goals. He's won. Barcola is 11, and then Jonathan David's tied for second as well with Barcola.
11. There you go.
For on 11.
There you go. He's that goal scorer.
Ball knowledge.
What Mason Greenwood has that I don't think a lot of CONCACAF players have is the ability to dribble. Obviously, there are some good dribblers, right? Pulisic comes to the mind for number one. But Mason Greenwood has good technique with the dribble, and I don't. Obviously, it's really hard in a competitive setting to do things you might do in practice or whatnot. But I think that's going to be a huge difference in what we see. I also want to say that Mason Greenwood has a very unique situation when he comes to Jamaica that he will not have anywhere else in the world. And he's going to come to Jamaica and be welcomed with open arms, right? Like he is going to be, we've noticed from our videos, comment section, from other videos, Jamaican fans want Mason Greenwood, understandably so. As a footballer, he's a phenomenal footballer. He's going to come to Jamaica and immediately be treated like a king. That's only going to breed success in CONCACAF for any player. Obviously, CONCACAF is a pretty intense region fan-wise, I would say, depending on where you're at. Fans want a lot. I think Jamaican fans are kind of getting to a point where they need a lot. And Mason Greenwood, I think, couldn't come at a more perfect time. He's going to have the backing of the team, the coaching staff, the fans, the Jamaican media. He's going to have freedom to do whatever the hell he wants, essentially. I don't think he's going to be kind of corralled into a specific Michael Antonio-esque position under Steve McLaren. I almost want to say Steve McLaren is going to tell him to do whatever the hell he wants him. However, Mason Greenwood wants to play, they'll build it around him. But think of the front line of Damari Gray, Mason Greenwood, and Leon Bailey, with potentially being behind him is Bobby Decker-Reed. That is a killer front 3 or 4 for CONCACAF standards. That is a killer front 3 or 4. I would want to say that with the addition of Mason Greenwood, is it a lock for 2026 World Cup qualification for Jamaica, or am I pushing that a little bit too far?
Pushing,
A lock is pushing
because
yeah.
a lot of push. It's just on paper, like with this Jamaican side, as throughout the years we've covered them, it's always on paper they're like a top 3, top 4 side, but then they never click well together. So it's honestly, it relies heavily on how well Mason Greenwood settles down, how quickly he settles down, right, and how well he gets along with these teammates too. Because that's going to be interesting to see if he's able to gel with them, and if they're cool with whatever happened in that situation. They're cool with it, and then I'm sure it'll be all right, that side of it. But I think it just depends on if they gel together. Because certain players, on paper, you'd be like, oh, they're stacked, like PSG back when they had Messi, Neymar, Mbappe. You'd be like, oh, this team's stacked, and then they don't win anything except Ligue 1. They don't win anything outside of France. So it's like, It depends. It depends. I'm hoping, but we'll see what happens on paper. But I'm hoping that Mason Greenwood really helps open up this attack and makes it better, because I think this is the person they're looking for in terms of there's a piece missing and build up play and finishing. And I'm hoping Mason Greenwood is that guy for the Reggae Boyz
for sure.
Yeah, they had chances in games. Every game they've had a chance to score a goal. It doesn't matter who it is, the United States, Mexico, but they just never were able to finish their chances. So hopefully this solves the issue, but we'll see in due time.
I am curious how Mason Greenwood is going to affect the future of Jamaica in the way that, in the dual national sense. Obviously, we've done numerous videos. We got another one coming out pretty soon. Dual nationals are a big part of the Jamaican footballing culture, the Jamaican National Team culture, and a big part of their success moving forward. I really hope that Mason Greenwood really is the stepping stone for a lot of players. I hope a lot of players are looking at him and saying, I hope he succeeds at Jamaica. And I hope a lot of players will see that and be like, it's time, we should move to Jamaica. Because there are a lot of top quality professional players that have the ability to play for Jamaica and for whatever reason choose not to. I'm hoping Mason Greenwood is the one that is able to, change the minds of a lot of players. I do think, too, Jamaica are really about to take on a bad boy role in the region for obvious reasons that we don't need to delve into further. But I think this could be a really good thing for them. I think storyline. Jamaica have long been, the up and coming team that people are paying attention to, but they kind of stopped paying attention to fairly recently, right? Jamaica haven't pulled anything off. The media's kind of shying away from them. The media's going to be all over them now, and they have to shine, or the criticism is going to be insane. It's going to be crazy. But I think this is it. I see a semifinals appearance for Jamaica in the Gold Cup, if not a final appearance. And what I pray for that. Imagine the stream for the Gold Cup semifinals and finals. Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
Well, I know you would pop off. I mean, if they're playing Mexico, it's a little different, but Of
course, naturally. I'd be going crazy. We're in that game right up there. But I think it's going to be it from us today, guys, for this Mason Greenwood Jamaica content. Now, of course, if you're still watching, highly, highly appreciate the view and the watch time for you guys. Thank you very much for supporting us. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. It helps us out more than you realize. Like the video as well. If you're excited to watch Mason Greenwood play in the Reggae Boyz kit, of course, leave your comment down below. Your opinions on the newest addition to the Reggae Boyz side. We're going to be reading all of them, of course, and responding to as many as we can. And then if you want more Jamaican content, leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all that, because we're going to have a ton for you moving forward. Otherwise, that's going to be it. I've been Elijah. Andres and Diego have been with me as well. Hopefully see you guys in other videos. And yeah, take care, guys.